Who's joining me in the studio now for Perspective is editor Languages of India Today, Prabhu Chawla. Tavleen Singh, leading columnist who's been writing over several years on the vexed dispute at the Babri Masjid. With us also in the studio is BJP spokesperson Nirmala Sitharaman. Joining us from Ayodhya at this time is my colleague Harinder Baveja. Also with us is Keshav Rao of the Congress. I want to start with you, Prabhu. For all those viewers who've just tuned in and have been looking at this very intricate judgment, wanting to understand from you what this really means, how would you break down this judgment, sir?
It's a secular judgment. I would call it a secular judgment which cannot be implemented. Because that's the one point you are dismissing the ownership put forward by Sunni Waqf Board. It doesn't belong to them. Then it belongs to Hindu, Muslim and Nirmoji Akhada. Who are Hindus? Who are Muslims? So when the ownership of the disputed structure has not been decided, who will construct the temple? What is the way forward in this? I think this judgment has created more complications for the country. Of course, it has settled one question, as if matter of faith, first time judiciary has given some kind of a judicial acceptability to matter of faith. That's the only advantage of this judgment, that nobody can say, okay, Ram was never born there. So anybody who is a secularist or non-secularist has to admit legal justification now that it was the place of birth of Ram. That is the only thing they have settled. But all other issues are unsettled. One third, which part of one third should be given to whom? So this judgment is non-implementable at the moment. It will create much more problems in the future when we go ahead. They said they will go to the Supreme Court.
You're saying the judgment seems non-implementable. Tavleen Singh, the question also is, will this in any way help find a solution to this problem that's been around for the last 61 years in the courts of this country, and will it help close old wounds once and forever?
Yes, I believe it will. Because you see, I don't agree with Prabhu. I think it's actually a terrific judgment. Because the thing to do with historical wounds is to deal with them and then move forward. And this is something that I really believe that the judges have done is do that. You know, they've given us a chance to move forward and really create an atmosphere in which we can revive what has always been an Indian tradition of Hindus and Muslims worshipping side by side. And, you know, I mean, what more do you want? I think that's terrific.
You're saying they've been able to walk the fine balancing line by ensuring that nobody wins completely, but nobody is disheartened to the extreme either.
Yes, I absolutely believe that to be true. But the most important thing is we need to get beyond the little legal details of which part of the mosque and which part is the temple. What is important is that it's a chance to really move forward and say that in future we will not dig up these wounds, and if we do, we will do them in a spirit of a kind of interfaith dialogue where you discuss these wounds of history which exist. You don't pretend that they don't exist. And to me, what's most important about what the court has said is that it's admitted that there was a temple underneath, that this was a wound of history. And, you know, it has to be confronted.
You're saying it was a wound of history that needs to be confronted. You're welcoming the decision. Nirmala Sitharaman, the BJP, had been central to this dispute, and really the political fortunes of the party had been built around the Ram Temple movement. Now that this verdict is out, how is the party looking at the verdict and also ensuring that nowhere is there too much of a sense of jubilation and celebration, because that would send out a very, very wrong message?
Yes, the party is still looking at the judgment. As you know, the core committee is meeting today, and once they are clear of the meeting, we'll probably know the specific stand the party is taking on this issue. But as it is, I think we should first of all understand that all of us are talking about in very much of a detail about a judgment whose copies have not even reached our hands. We're picking and choosing a lot of things and talking about it. The initial indications are the matters that we're talking about. But I think I would be very cautious not to get into too much of a detailed analysis of the judgment itself, and also to infer many things which don't come out. However, having said all this, I'm glad, and I'm full of praise for the judges for having spent a lot of time looking at great evidential details. I think what is important for us to understand is judges, I mean, as we understand the judicial process, don't respond to the emotions or the public sentiments or anything that which is floating around before and after the courts. They look at the hard evidence, look at it logically, look at it from the point of view of proving a point, and then give their verdict. Now, if that is the way in which courts operate, it's very heartening for me to see in this judgment two main things. One, that there has not been a disagreement or dissension in deciding that this was indeed the Janmasthan.
Okay.
And secondly, that in majority of the matters, both the judges or majority opinion has come out. 2 judges versus 1 in case. And there has not been a diametrically opposite view on any one issue which has come up. Nuanced position has been taken by one judge as opposed to the other 2, maybe so. But what is gratifying is this is not a contentious judgment, but of course the details will have to be worked out, and it creates an environment where you probably can move forward with taking people along and probably looking at alternative solutions also.